Okay, how do you feel?
It looks nice. It looks like we're in like someone's home.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend this is.
Wait, this is really lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, yay! Okay, I'm very excited. This is Kristen Aiken, and she is head of life at HuffPost.
Sounds very omnipotent, right?
This is such a fancy title. But like, what does that entail? It's lifestyle.
Life originally, as of just a year or two ago, was just all of our lifestyle content, which does encompass a huge part of HuffPost. I originally was just our food editor, and then I was also our style editor, and then we also have incredible sections on wellness, which covers like health and mental wellness, parenting, relationships, work life. I'm definitely forgetting things, but everything, travel.
So much.
And then it grew last year into a shopping section as well that's also focused on service. So basically, across life and shopping, we think of our job as to just make people's lives better by providing service and giving all of the answers people might want. And you know, the internet is such a mess lately with so much information and misinformation. Our job is to do all of the research for you and make sure you have trusted information.
I love that.
I've been here 11 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a long time.
Yeah, I know.
You're so young. I know.
I'm
I was
not.
actually like, if we like backtrack.
I'm 40.
Okay, tell me, we're gonna have to go into the skin thing. I also, this is such a tangent, but I like read that you put orange in your hair.
Do you remember did you ever watch My So-Called Life?
I have not, but that's where you heard it from, right?
Yes, there was like a scene, I loved that show when I was a teenager, and there was a scene where Angela said, like someone said Angela's hair smelled like orange trees. And I had this memory to like being at Epcot Center when I was a kid, and there was this like ride into the future that you go into where it smells like oranges, and I found out they used like orange essence, so I started putting that in my hair. I don't have it today, so sorry.
I know, I was gonna be like, let me smell your hair. Well, that's amazing. Also need to get your skin care situation at
Well, I don't have children. I think that makes my life much easier.
Same.
And I would love to have children, but it's exhausting, so
Yes.
I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. Keeps our skin fresh. Without the little children running around.
Yeah.
Okay, can we backtrack just a second?
Yeah.
Because when I was, doing my research on you, I was like, this gal has gone to Barnard College at Columbia, Ivy League, for those of you who don't know. Graduated from the French Culinary Institute, worked for the Yankees, is that correct?
Yeah. That was my dream job when I was a kid.
And then went to Martha Stewart and then HuffPost,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what have you not done? I was like, talk about a full, like, well-rounded human.
It sounds really random because those things are all so different, but it was actually like very specifically targeted, each of those jobs. Which is
Really?
weird. When I was a kid, I had older brothers and grew up like near the Baseball Hall of Fame near Cooperstown.
Okay.
And I loved baseball, and I became obsessed with the Yankees. And when I was 14, I was like, I gotta get away to get into the locker room and like meet the players. So like, I'm gonna be a journalist. So I went to Barnard because it's closest college to Yankee Stadium. Luckily, I got in. And I interned for the Yankees when I was in college and like got a job there, and then eventually worked for Major League Baseball. And I was interviewing players in the locker room every day. It was like my dream. And I was such a shy adolescent and like young adult, so it was really good to like break me out of that, and like just being forced to like go interview like people that I idolized was just, it kind of is good at like getting you out of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
What was it about baseball that you loved so much?
I think there's a lot of I was a history major. I love history, and there's a lot of storytelling. Like baseball, I think, can be so boring if you're not really invested in it.
Yeah.
But once you start learning about the players and their whole histories and like everything that's making up every day, and then the history of a franchise, you learn it's like all about storytelling, and you're just like, you get really, really into it. If you meet someone who's like an avid baseball fan, I think they'd say the same thing.
Wow. So did you know all the stats too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Actually,
who was your favorite person?
Derek Jeter, of course. He was like, all
Derek
his
Jeter?
posters were on my wall.
Really?
And it was kind of embarrassing. Like, I didn't want anyone to know that when I worked there. I wanted to be professional. So I'm sure they just thought I was just there to do my job, and I never tried not to act excited, but I was like really excited inside.
Oh my gosh. So what were like his stats? Like, do you remember them still?
I mean, I know his rookie year, he batted .314, had 10 home runs and 78 RBIs in 1996. Like, I could rattle off things like that.
That just sounds like, I don't even know what to make of that. I don't even know what any of that means. It sounds impressive though.
And he was like a great I think he was a great person for me to have as a role model when I was a kid, because he never, he always ended up being like a respectable public figure, and I'm still like very proud of being a Derek Jeter fan. So.
Wow, I love that. Did you get to interview him then?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did?
He was the first person they sent me to interview. I was in
Oh my gosh, you must have
college.
freaked out.
I was in college on vacation at my grandparents, and they were like, we need someone to go into the locker room at spring training.
Oh my gosh.
And I had never interviewed anyone before, not even like someone up my age. And I just had a little tape recorder. And the thing I remember most is I got home and played back the tape recorder, and I had hit some button that made it all in super fast speed.
Oh my gosh.
I could barely understand anything that I recorded, but I figured it out.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was mortified.
Was that like simultaneously the most stressful and exciting moment of your life?
For sure. Yeah. Mostly just I didn't want to like embarrass myself. I didn't know how to conduct myself in a setting like that.
Yeah.
To the man at the door, the security man who was just letting me in, I was like, are you sure I'm allowed in here? Like, I really, and no one had really prepared me for it. It was on a whim. So yeah, I really got thrown into the lion's den.
Wait, I love that though. So then when did you decide like the Martha Stewart realm was gonna be where you were gonna go? I mean, how do you go from baseball to that? That's
Martha became my next obsession. When you work baseball, like I was editing the MLB website at nights, like during the games live.
Okay.
So you kind of have like all day free, and you're tired from like working nights. And I ended up just loving cooking, but also at the same time, the year I graduated from college was when I think Martha was let out of prison, because everyone had free Martha on our graduation caps.
Oh my gosh.
So like then she had this like meteoric rise again. Remember, she had that show on NBC every day, and she became really big again, and I just became like a Martha fanatic. And I applied to work as a food editor at her website like I think 6 times, and I kept coming in like 2nd or 3rd place. And I really wanted to know why, and the HR people there were so nice, and they talked to me and they're like, well, these other people have gone to culinary school and you haven't. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do this and go to culinary school to prove myself. So I did. I worked, I think I was still working at Major League Baseball at nights, and I was going to culinary school in the day. And the 7th time I applied after I graduated, I finally got in.
Oh my gosh.
So like persistence. I felt like I was nagging.
Yeah, but that's great. I mean, what a lesson though. Like you just have to keep nagging until like you get what you want.
I actually wasn't hired as a food editor. I was hired, there was like an opening, I think it was like home and living, and I was just like, I'll take it. Like I just wanted to get in. And then eventually I got moved around. So.
How long did you work there then?
It was like 3 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still like a huge Martha Stewart fan?
Always and forever.
Do you remember that like selfie that she took of herself?
Oh, yes.
I feel like it's iconic now because I'm like, this woman is killing it.
Do you know what's interesting is I like went to a new dentist recently, and he said he was like coaching her about how to take that selfie.
Wait,
so she had some input. Like it was definitely like planned.
Yeah.
I think she had really thought about it. Seemed like a good move. I mean, everyone's talking about
I mean, I'm still talking about it. God knows how long later. I'm like, wow, stunning. Okay, that's very cool. And what about Culinary Institute?
Oh.
Like, was that
it was
very intense?
Extremely intense, way more than I thought it would be, and like the best, I hate to say, but like the best money I've spent on education, because like you get the most bang for your buck, I think.
Yeah.
French Culinary Institute, which doesn't exist anymore. It kind of like died during COVID.
Oh, really?
It was in Soho, yeah. It combined with another culinary school now.
Okay.
So it's like not how it was, but it was great. Okay. It was all these like old school French instructors. A lot of the like technique and the things you learned were in actual French, which was great because luckily I took French in high school, which did me no good in the Yankees locker room where everyone speaks Spanish. So finally I could use some of my French, but it's hard. You don't sit down and you don't like take classes and like sit and listen. You're on your feet all day in a hot kitchen. When it's like the summer months, it can get to like 130 degrees in there. But it was the best. I just learned so much, and I knew if I wanted to be a food editor, I was going to have to learn all of the technique. I had no intention of ever working in a kitchen. Yeah. But I knew I had to learn it, and I learned so much in 6 months. I would definitely do it all over again. And I made so many good friends. It was really, I was like in my late 20s at that point. So it was really nice to have an experience again, like kind of like college, where you like meet friends and like peers. And I kind of wish I could do something like that again without spending money.
How long was it?
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dedication. I'm very impressed by it.
Thank you.
You know, I'm currently reading Bill Buford's Heat. I know I'm like so late.
Well,
to
I
the
haven't
whole-
read it.
Oh,
I
okay.
shouldn't admit that.
So I feel like it's like giving me like a full immersion into like what it's like to work in a kitchen. And he always, yeah, he's talking about the grill station and how hot it is and how all of your hair on your arms just like burns off.
Yeah.
Did you have experience?
Oh, so many burns and things. Like I have so much respect for anyone who works in the food industry and in the restaurant industry. It's so much hard work. The hours are crazy. The pay isn't very good, and like it's something that's so valued by society. Like what would we do without restaurants and people to feed us? But yeah, you get like burns on your arms just from opening the ovens, and if you're good with your knife, you won't cut yourself. But there are always accidents, and like there are these they call them finger condoms that everyone was always using every day. It's like a tiny little, it fits.
Oh yeah, like
for
plastic,
when you cut yourself
right?
with a knife. It's rubber. It's
rubber.
exactly what it sounds like.
Okay.
Oh, but yeah,
so it is like a little finger condom.
Every day everyone was cutting themselves, but yeah, and I'm like, I never had to work in a restaurant kitchen. And I had so many friends who did, and it's much, much worse. After culinary school, it sounds like nothing compared to once you get in the kitchen. So
yeah, it's pretty intense.
It's really hard work.
So then you went from Martha Stewart to HuffPost. You've been here for 11 years.
Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning and you're like trekking through Times Square to get here, like what is the thing that, I don't know, gets you the most excited about your job?
First, my colleagues are incredible. Everyone is so smart and compassionate and caring, and I feel like everyone kind of has the same commitment to their job where we really feel like we're doing a service. Like the stories we put out are things we care about, and whether they're like light or heavy, like we feel like they're helping someone. And then like at the end of the day, that does definitely, I think, help you sleep at night and help you feel good. The other thing I love about it now is that like head of life sounds like this big job, but like after being here for so long though, you realize like when you end up in a job like that, it's because you've kind of gradually grown into it. And my favorite thing is that as much as I loved food and drink, like just being the food and drink editor, like didn't kind of I'm interested in everything. I have so many like hobbies and interests, like personally, that they really mesh with all of the topics that we cover at work. And so I love working across all of life because just like there's so many ideas like pouring in and out of us every day that it's like very like kind of invigorating, and it's like I'm constantly engaged. It's really nice.
Yeah, I love that. You are like a person, it seems like, with many interests, like even knitting. I was stalking your Instagram and I was like, you're like a professional knitter. I was like, all of those are so beautiful. I'm like, do you sell any of them? I love.
People ask that. If people want to buy them, sure.
Might have
It
customer
takes
over
so
here.
long to knit something. I feel like I'd have to charge like $8,000
to make it worth your time.
Yeah.
Wait, because I was thinking of like the green sweater with like the little red heart.
Oh yeah.
That
Do you
just
know
shows how far
the heart was there
deep that
because I
was.
made a mistake and then I patched it. I just made a little heart.
Oh,
I
I
shouldn't
love.
admit that.
No, but I love that. It also makes me think of that really sweet quilt that you made, like with your dad's shirts, and like the red in it is like where his heart would be.
No, I'm glad you brought my dad up. My dad is like the biggest part of why I love working. My dad worked for the same place for 42 years.
Same with my dad.
Really?
Very generational thing.
I think it's not even possible anymore.
No.
But it was like, he loved working. He loved going to work every day.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I remember like as early as I could have thoughts, I was like, I want to go to work every day. Like, I want to make money. I want to like go into an office. And my dad died like right before COVID. He had ALS. So ALS is a tough thing to watch if someone you love go through, because there's no cure and it's gradual, and like it's hard to watch someone decline. But like I feel like the biggest connection I have to him still is like taking pride in my work and coming to work every day, and it makes me feel really good.
I love that. That's really sweet.
I always wish, like, the only times I like get like really sad about him being gone, or like when I wish I could talk to him about something for work. Like I always ask him for advice. So I'm like,
and you know,
I want your answers.
And you know that he's obviously so proud of you and all the things that you're accomplishing, which always feels nice.
And he wasn't like he was very loving, but he wasn't like very vocal about his feelings ever.
Again,
like,
generational
that
thing.
generation.
Yes.
But like the one thing he always told me he was proud about was how hard I work. So that was really nice.
It's very inspiring to watch somebody just follow all these different passions in their life and find success, and whatever that means, just being able to like do the work that you love.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm very lucky.
yeah, but you gotta tell me, has there been any tricky moments in that? Like, has there been
Always. I never feel secure, ever.
Really?
In case that makes anyone feel better.
Well, yeah, because it's so inspiring to hear that, but then I'm sure people are gonna hear that and be like, wow, like it seems easy, but I'm sure it couldn't have been.
No, I'm always working myself to the bone for the fear that like I'm going to become unnecessary in my job or something, because I work in online media and that's the nature of things, and I've been so fortunate to still have a job for all of this time, and who knows what could ever happen, and I like don't take that for granted, but I know it's not like a healthy approach to have, but I'm always nervous about that. It's always in the back of your mind, my mind, and a lot of people's minds. Like it's not easy. It's not an easy field. And like the other thing is like people are always like, "What's next?" And I'm like, I like what I'm doing, and I don't have any more goals. Like I just want to keep doing this and better at this, and like growing this. And that's the other thing too. Is like maybe it's this age you reach to where you're like, I don't want to switch careers again. I don't want to have to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I will say, even a couple years ago when you wrote that article and you were nominated, well, you were a finalist for the James Beard Foundation for Journalism. Am I saying that title correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
You did your research.
I did do my research. But like that was such an inspired article, and I would imagine that like that adds another layer to all of the things that you're doing.
Yeah, I don't even get to write very much anymore, and that was like a rare opportunity. I got to write something, and it was really nice. Yeah, you kind of when you're an editor, you kind of give up writing, even though that was like the whole reason you started.
Yeah. Well, so that's interesting. Do you spend more of your time managing the people underneath you? Okay.
Especially since I run like the shopping section too now, a lot of it is like about calculating revenue strategy and things like that. So it's like skills I never even thought I didn't even know they existed, and now I am learning them, and I think that's actually what's like really engaging and exciting too, is like as the world evolves and as like e-commerce pops up and something else will pop up in a few years, like you kind of adapt and learn things, and it's like constantly a new challenge.
Well, you're kind of forced to, because it's like you were saying, if
stay
you
relevant.
don't, then you won't be relevant anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, last question, curious, when you have all these stories, do you create the ideas and then give them to the editors to write, or do they pitch to you?
There are lots of different iterations.
Okay.
I work with people on staff. We have great brainstorm meetings, and they come up with most of the ideas, and we all kind of like talk about them and finesse them a little bit. So the writers on staff come up with like all of the brilliant ideas that you see in HuffPost. Every once in a while, like me or the other senior editors will say like, oh, this is something that's happening in the world, like we really need to do our take on it, and we'll assign it to someone. And then we also work with freelancers who, it's also a combination, they'll pitch things and we'll either like love the pitch as is, or we'll like kind of finesse it to make it HuffPosty.
Okay.
Because like another big thing in online media is like you really need to like keep your brand solid and like make you different from everyone else, because there's so much repetition out there.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just like one of 100 articles that are all saying the same thing. It's really difficult.
Well, I was gonna say that would be difficult.
Yeah.
And then also, because there is so much, is there like a pressure to then put out so many new articles every day, just to be like, hey guys, we have like 800 coming your way?
Yeah, like I would die to work for a magazine where there's just like pages you fill and then you're done.
Yeah. I hear like Vanity Fair. It's like there's this many and then we're good.
I know there are challenges to that too, from reading Anna Wintour's book, that like it seemed really hard for like Vogue editors to fill those pages. But like in the internet where it's just like endless,
constant,
and traffic expectations are like always, of course they always want everything to be better and higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you deal with it, and I think you just get used to it. But I always imagine like my brother is a really great, he works in public schools. He was a teacher for like 20 years and now he's a vice principal. And I always think like, if my brother were to like join this industry without having like been acclimated to it, I was like, he would just be like,
what is this?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So how many stories a day do you like that go live under your
I would say
section?
Between life and shopping, like 20-ish.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 15 to 20. Yeah.
That's
and
a
we
lot.
We have a pretty small staff. Our team is incredible. I love working with all of the writers and editors. They're really smart and like caring and compassionate and thoughtful and sensitive.
I love that.
And like, yeah, they care a lot about their work.
Yeah.
So I love being here.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so happy that I got to meet you, and thanks
Me
for like
too.
sitting down and doing this. Also,
Thanks
like,
for
I feel like we
asking.
have to be friends and like go out for a drink now.
I will definitely be your friend.
Yay! That's so lame, but you're welcome. Love you.